welcome to my channel. This is the first episode of the Design With Me series. So in this series, I'm going to be taking you guys step by step from the start of a collection, like concept creation and inspiration, all the way to a finished designed collection. We're gonna be going through all the steps together, and I will be sharing the way I do things, the way I find inspiration, the way I like to sketch and develop an idea. So yeah, let's get started, and I hope you guys enjoy. We are going to be designing a Spring-Summer 2020 collection together. So what is the very first step in finding a collection? As you guys know, it is finding inspiration. And I wish it was as easy as saying, well, just look around you and you will find inspiration because it's everywhere. Although that is true, to give that as an instruction or a piece of advice for you guys, it doesn't mean anything, because we are so used to our daily lives and seeing things around us that we don't see it as inspiration anymore. I know that for me, like my daily life, to find some like beautiful inspiration to design a collection, that doesn't really happen naturally, like as in, yeah. So I won't just go outside and see something and that will trigger an inspiration. That does happen to me when I travel, or let's say I go to a museum and I see something that's really beautiful, and that can trigger inspiration for me. But for the most part, it all comes down to research. So research is how you find inspiration. You have to put in the time, you have to look things up, you have to explore, and that's how you find inspiration. I find the researching stage of the collection to be the most peaceful part of the collection, because I am not committed to a single idea. My mind is open. I can design anything at this stage. I haven't been locked down into an idea. You know, this is one of the fun parts. Actually, there are so many fun parts in designing a collection, but at this stage, the fun is more like thinking the possibilities are endless. You have a fresh start, no matter what you designed before, or if this is your first collection, this is the start of something new. So keep an open mind when you start your research, and yeah, this is one of my favorite parts of the collection. I use a combination of traditional research and online research. So by traditional research, I mean books, magazines, photographs, whatever it may be, traditional forms of research. And then I also use online research. So I know things have changed with technology and everything is online. Like any content you may find in a book most likely is online, but as you will see when I actually start demonstrating like my research, you'll see the advantages of starting traditionally, like just not hopping online and, you know, starting your research. So I will explain that when we start the demo, but I think we're ready actually. So let's begin now. Okay, so let's start our first batch of research. Now most of you probably think that all we can do is, you know, hop on Pinterest and start browsing the internet and, you know, see what we can find there. And I surely do this as well. I mean, in my free time, I'm always on Pinterest and just like looking at random things that I like. But there is something important in starting a collection the like traditional way. So with magazines or with a book, it's just something where you can find maybe a topic or some part, you can discover some part of history that you might not even have thought about looking at on the internet, because of course on the internet you have to put in keywords. So I mean, let's say for example, like this is really cool, this is really nice. What is this? See, I don't even know what this is. So this is fashion inspiration from East Asia. So I might not have ever written a keyword about East Asia or, you know, this time period, which says 18th century Manchu ceremonial armor. See, I would have never found that on the internet because I wouldn't know what to look for. But now that I see in a book, it's so interesting, like, and it almost looks like an abaya. That's very cool with the shoulder embroidery and the jewelry, the headpiece. See, so I have kind of just spontaneously proven the point that when you start with traditional methods of research like books and magazines, there's so much more you can discover that you might not have ever looked for in the internet. We all have this habit when we go on Pinterest to just search for the things we know already. For example, I know my personal habits. I will search embroidery and I will search Indian traditional fashion and things like that because that's what I know, and so I end up always getting the same results. So it always helps to, you know, go traditional first. Just do this exercise, even if it's one time and you don't find anything, that's fine. But I highly doubt it. And now, like, even like when I travel, I buy a book about fashion or some sort of history because, you know, there's so many sources of inspiration here. So, like, look at this, textures and colors and everything. So yeah, so I've had this book for a while. It was a very good investment, The Worldwide History of Dress. So these kind of books are very helpful. And as I said, my first round of research is completely free. I can do whatever I want. I can look at whatever I want. And I try to keep my inspiration searches at this point very not related to fashion, because I don't want to look at other people's designs and that be the source of my initial inspiration. I don't want to do that because it's just human nature to see something and then your mind just gets stuck on it and that's what you want to do. So at that point, like, that's a bit dangerous and I don't like to do that. So I keep my initial round of research to be everything not related to fashion. So this is related to fashion, but it's history of fashion, and it's like more like a reference point where I can see things that were done in the past. But I also this is a travel insert that was part of Harper's Bazaar. And they have some like gorgeous pictures of, you know, inspiration, and like I can look at this and just see colors and textures, and you know, I can picture places and what people would wear there, and it's interesting to see. I'm keeping an open mind. You know, I like these, like this sage colored chair with the gold. That's interesting. These leaves are interesting here. I don't know if you can see them, but yeah. You know, just keeping an open mind. Another kind of resource that I like to look at is interior design. So interior design is quite closely related to fashion in terms of, you know, we use a lot of the same materials like textures, colors, fabrics, that kind of thing. So after having looked through the interior book, the travel magazine, of course I could do this with several other magazines and I can, you know, keep looking. But just for the sake of this video, I think I'm going to refer back to this book on the history of fashion in different parts of the world. Since I did flip to this page instinctively, we could, you know, research more around this time period and this, you know, era in fashion to get some inspiration. So basically what the traditional form of inspiration does, now that I've seen this, I will read a little bit about it and see exactly what time period they're talking about, what is going on here. Like, look at this garment here. That is very interesting. His robe. You know, there's so many possibilities. So yeah, I'm going to just take a look at this, and then I can now, once I have found something that piques my interest in this traditional form of research, I can then take that, and now I know exactly what to search on the internet to get more images and more like variations of this. And you never know, when you type in this topic onto the internet and you see what there is, you might not like it. It might not then further, you know, inspire you to make a full-on collection with it. But at least we're going to the internet with a little bit of focus. We're not just going there blind and, you know, ending up with 5,000 ideas that and we're just confused. Now I know the direction I want to go in, so I will now research that further and see if I can really take it far into a collection. So enough of that, let's start to see what is on the internet regarding this topic. Okay, so we are now on Google, and I will research Manchu Qing dynasty, let's say fashion. Okay. Interesting. That's kind of cool. I like this skirt and top type of garment. Okay, I'll save that. Oops. I'm liking the color combos here. That's interesting. That's beautiful. I love that. Okay, let's go to Pinterest and try and search the same thing. So the Manchu Qing dynasty. Let's see what we find here. Okay, it's a similar image here that we had on Google. So I'm seeing like a combination of bold colors like this, like reds, blues. Here, I'll make it bigger. So like reds, blues, whites, higher contrast. I'm seeing really beautiful florals, which can be easily interpreted into embroidery. I'm loving the jewelry here as well. Like that is very nice. And I'm seeing repeated borders, like the use of, you know, cuff borders, neckline borders. So that is very interesting. I think I'm gonna save this one. And then I'm also seeing a pastel side of things, you know, a more lighter color story. But again, you see the repeat of the borders on the bottom. You see the borders here along the sleeve. I can see something interesting that the outside is pink with a pattern, and the inside, the lining is white. So that's interesting to keep, you know, two different linings. That's an idea. I'll go ahead and save that too. Okay. And you don't have, when you're researching these things, you don't only have to look at women's wear. I mean, why not? Why not take a look at what the men are wearing? I mean, that's pretty cool too. I mean, I don't know about this sleeve, this not sleeve, this like collar thing. That's a bit crazy, but still interesting to look at. Yeah. What else is there? That is so nice. Save that. Okay, I feel like I'm getting a lot of the same kind of images, so now I might want to, you know, look at something different. So let's see, this is an artifact. Okay, not really triggering much. I mean, it is beautiful, but it's not really inspiring me in any certain direction. But let's say embroidery from this era. Okay, kind of similar to what we have in the pictures. How about artifacts? So like, this is how research goes. You know, you'll start from one thing and that can lead to other things, and if it's not inspiring you enough, you might need to reconsider. But I think I have something to at least start working with here. By the way, I'm actually designing this collection live. I don't know how it's gonna turn out. So that's a bit of pressure. If in the next video I'm like, guys, I am not inspired at all by this topic anymore, we're starting the inspiration again, please don't hate me. But so far it's interesting. Something different. I haven't been inspired by this kind of, you know, topic before. So let's see where it takes us. I am liking these vases. I don't know what era they're from. Oh, okay, from the same Qing or Qing dynasty. Okay, I like the duotoneness of it. I like a solid background with white pattern over it. That's interesting. Can be used in embroidery, inspiration, or, you know, finding a textile like that. Okay. That's a cool coat. I like that. Let's save it. Okay, so I feel like we have a lot of images right now, so let's kind of try and build a mood board now. And I build my mood boards online, like on the computer. I don't really cut and paste just because that's wasteful of paper and, you know, printing and stuff like that. So let's open Illustrator and start our mood board. Okay, so I have opened Illustrator and I have all my photos in my downloads file. So this is what I've found so far. I will drag it into Illustrator and we have everything here to play with. Now, I know mood boarding is kind of a whole other topic, and that can also have like a more specific video that's only based on how to create like beautiful mood boards. And we will eventually make a really final nice mood board when we like take our inspiration a bit further and we get into color stories and that kind of thing. That is when a full-on mood board will be created. But for now, I'm just gathering everything that I have found and I'm putting it in front of me so that I can then, you know, process it, see if it's something I want to continue with or not, or, you know, see if this is getting my creative juices flowing or not. Okay, I'm doing a horrible job of organizing these pictures. So much pressure. These two are similar. I like this one better. So the pictures that are really speaking out to me, I tend to like make them bigger. And the ones that are less, you know, less inspirational, shall I say, I keep them a bit smaller. That's just what naturally happens. The photos I like, I'm like, ooh, I want them bigger. So, yeah. By the way, if you guys have any comments or any things that like I can explain further, please just like ask me in the comments below and I will answer them for you. So in case I've missed anything, because I am kind of doing this naturally and on the fly, so I hope it's, you know, helping anyway. But yeah, so now this is everything we have found based on the inspiration that we found in my like fashion history book, and then taking that further into on the internet and really opening up a bit more. Now, I can already see some things that are exciting me, like this big sleeve shape is very exciting. I find the border idea of all these borders to also be interesting and something that I haven't really done before. I like the contrast in colors, like yellow border with blue. That's very interesting. Again, something that I wouldn't naturally think of. Oh, this picture is hidden. This is a beautiful picture. Let me mask it. This picture, I think, is like something that is really speaking to me. I love it. I love the florals. I love even the black piping here. When I look at a picture, I go way into details. Like, whoa, look at her nails, for example. That is very cool. So yeah, there is definitely a vibe here. And it can be taken further, but that would be the next step. So after this video, this is finding inspiration, which we have found. The next step would be developing a color story, and we will do that in the next lesson. So stay tuned to take all this inspiration further with a color story. Later on, we'll do fabrics, then we'll start sketching. So guys, we have successfully finished the first draft of the mood board. This is a very bare bones mood board. So it just quickly throws together everything that we found that was inspirational on our first, you know, search for inspiration. I would recommend you guys to then maybe tomorrow or maybe later on today go back and do a little bit more research on the topic to see if it is really something that can, you know, carry you through an entire collection. I know I will be researching it a little bit more in this book as well as on the internet, just to, you know, give me a more like well-rounded view of what this concept can be. And that is the like dynasty in China, the Manchu Qing dynasty. I hope I'm saying that correctly. But it was an unexpected inspiration to find in this book, but I think there's a lot of interesting things. And please keep in mind, I am doing this kind of on the go, like it's not planned. I didn't plan to find this, you know, Chinese dynasty to be inspired by, but it came along and there's a lot. I can already see a lot to be inspired by. So it's gonna be exciting and interesting and natural, I hope, in the process of designing this collection. Next time we will be doing colors, and I love colors because it's the most fun part of designing the collection. I feel like I'm gonna say that about every part, that this is the most fun. But I do love color and it gets, you know, my creativity going, and yeah. So we will be doing color stories in the next episode. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye.